What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Justin here, guys. As always, please support the video and like and comment down below. I want to know your thoughts on today's video. We're going to be talking about one of my all-time favorite horror movies ever. Full stop, hands down, this is one of my favorite movies. If you guys have been watching the channel as of late, you know that I've been covering Fear Street like crazy. The first Fear Street movie takes place in 1994, so I thought, why don't I review some movies from 1994? And it just so happened, luckily, Brainscan was one of those movies that was released in 1994. The movie tells the story of Michael, a lonely, horror-obsessed teen played by Edward Furlong of The Crow, Wicked Prayer fame. I'm just kidding. It's John Connor from Terminator 2. We all know that. He was also in Detroit Rock City and another one of my all-time favorite movies, Pet Sematary 2, one of the most underrated horror sequels of all time. Michael is haunted by flashbacks of a car accident that happened when he was a kid that unfortunately killed his mom, injured him pretty severely. He has a limp sometimes throughout the movie. The limp sort of goes on and off throughout the movie, which is kind of funny, but it caused a lot of pain in his life. He's depressed. His dad is always working, always gone, never there. He pretty much just only hears from him on the answer machine as he leaves a message from him, and his only escape is through horror movies and video games. He's obsessed with Fangoria. He hangs out, he spends his time playing video games, hanging out in probably what is the coolest movie room of all time. His bedroom is incredible. It's amazing. He's also kind of a creeper. He spends a lot of time spying on his neighbor girl, Kimberly, the hot chick next door, who he has a video camera up and just straight up records her undressing. It's kind of gnarly. He has a voice-commanded computer assistant named Igor, which I always thought was amazing. To end the phone calls, he just says, "Later." Early in the movie, he gets a call from his best buddy, Kyle, who's reading the latest issue of Fango. He says the one with the bulging eyes on the cover. And within those pages is an advertisement for the scariest horror game ever made. Interactive CD-ROM game, Brainscan. But Michael isn't impressed by the sound of Brainscan. Every horror game he ever played was a big letdown, so he hangs up with Kyle, but he does decide to call the customer service for Brainscan, which happens to have the brilliant phone number 555-FEAR.
Igor, dial 1-800-555-FEAR.
Yes.
Then all of a sudden, inexplicably, lights start flashing and he all of a sudden goes into some sort of epileptic seizure, drools on himself, and then a couple days later the game arrives. We meet Trickster. The game interfaces with your inner subconscious. Now basically what the game entails is just a straight up murder from a first person perspective, sort of like a first person shooter perspective kind of a deal. He chooses his weapon, you see the hands, you see the victim, and he kills, all the while being cheered on by the one and only Trickster, the man you see on my shirt right here. Now, no disrespect to my boy Eddie Furlong, he is the man, one of my favorite actors of the 90s, but the star of the show here is Trickster, played brilliantly by T. Ryder Smith, one of the most iconic horror villains ever. He is so memorable. I wish they would have been able to go on and make more of these movies because T. Ryder Smith as Trickster is absolutely incredible to watch. He's captivating. His performance is quite honestly fairly brilliant. The makeup is amazing. He's funny, he's quirky, he's cool, he's evil. Basically, he gets off on watching Eddie murder those people. When Eddie Furlong is in the game, like I said, you can hear Trickster cheering him on, grab this weapon, go in here, basically giving him the play-by-play, telling him how to best commit these murders.
Do it. What are you waiting for?
Now, after his amazing first experience playing the game, he suddenly realizes he's in trouble when he goes to the next door neighbors and he sees on the news that the person he killed in the video game is actually dead. He looks out the window and there's a murder investigation going on right outside his door. And then from then on, there's a little bit of a cat and mouse game between the detective who sees that Edward Furlong is acting a little suspicious, but he doesn't remember committing the murder. There's not a ton of gore in this movie, but there's enough blood and body parts to go around that makes it highly, highly entertaining. Trickster is incredible. Edward Furlong is so fun to watch. And the movie is just an all-out blast. The movie was directed by John Flynn. I looked him up on IMDb, and actually this is the only movie of his I've ever seen. He's a pretty competent director. The soundtrack's decent. Now, when Brainscan was released in 1994, this was a time when digital effects were becoming more and more prominent in a ton of movies, especially in horror and sci-fi movies. Every single movie, it seemed, had to incorporate some sort of technological computer integration element, and they used a lot of these special effects in these movies, and the technology, quite frankly, just wasn't there. So when you revisit movies like Lawnmower Man and Virtuosity, Brainscan, the special effects effects obviously don't hold up, but it kind of just adds to the charm of all these movies, and it really doesn't bother me now. It's just kind of entertaining and sort of funny to watch these old special effects. The performances are pretty decent, specifically the chemistry between Michael and Kyle, Edward Furlong, and the best friend character. They have really good chemistry as best friends. You really felt for them as things progress in the movie. There's some decent suspense, actually, due to the fact that this detective is zeroing in on Edward Furlong's character, thinking that he committed the murder. Edward Furlong is spinning out, you know, because he seems to be sort of out of control of his own actions when he's in this game. Brainscan is one of those blast from the past movies that if you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about, and if you haven't seen it, if you're into 90s movies, you gotta watch this one, especially if you're a fan of Edward Furlong. He was great in the 90s, man. He did so many amazing films: Terminator 2, Detroit Rock City, Pet Sematary 2. He really had his time. A casting director for James Cameron actually found Edward Furlong at some sort of Boys and Girls Club, YMCA kind of a deal. He wasn't even looking to be an actor. He was just discovered and then thrust into the spotlight in Terminator 2. He's had a lot of troubles throughout his life with drugs and all kinds of issues, so I hope he's doing okay. I'd like to see him in movies again, but he definitely killed it in the 90s. This was his time, and Brainscan is one of my favorite roles he ever did. I really related to Edward Furlong's character in this movie. He's obsessed with horror movies. He's got a horror movie club at school where him and his buddies get together and watch these horror movies. He's got the most amazing room, and coming off Terminator 2, I just thought Edward Furlong was just the coolest motherfucker I had seen at that time, and I love him in this movie, and I really relate to his character being this horror-obsessed, sort of loner character, and I don't know, maybe I'm a loser, but I related to that when I was a kid. So guys, I think we're done here. I hope you enjoyed this review. Definitely check out Brainscan. As always, stay weird, always be yourself, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
I love movies. Gosh, I love movies. I love watching them, and I love making them.